All right, so today I want to talk about the Cannondale Supersix Evo Generation 5. It's kind of the new Cannondale. It's the one everybody's all excited about. I think that is cool because they're able to take a lot of weight out of the frame. It's a lot of weight. I think in pounds, that's like, I think it's like 0.3 pounds or something like that. So like that's pretty good because what you had is you had a lot of these bikes where they're like, oh yeah, it's right at the UCI limit, but it'd be, which is 6.8 kilograms, which is about 15 pounds with everything. But once you add your pedals and everything, it'd be at like, it'd basically be at like 7.1 kilograms, like 15 and a half pounds. So it just wasn't as light as it should have been. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. They were able to actually make that happen. But 14 pounds, 4 ounces, and a size 54. Sweet. Yeah, it's also good that it came down in price. I mean, so like for the SRAM Red version, they're asking like, I think for the last time they're asking like $16,000. So for this one, they're asking $13,500, which isn't cheap either. They did lower the price, so like that's kind of cool. And then these bars, like these system bars, are not using the Momo bar anymore. They're using these actual, you can pick the aero one or the climbing one. The climbing one really interests me a lot. I think it's like 280 grams. It's so light. That's a really nice bar. Then you have the aerodynamic one. But here's the thing that, like people love this stuff so much. They're like, all right, we have one that's optimized for aerodynamics and one that's optimized for climbing, and every single bike is a system and all this. And people try and sell this stuff to you all day. So I was getting in a conversation with someone. I said, hey, I bet if you took that aero version of the Lab 71, you put that against the Cervelo S5. I'm gonna make another video about this, but the Cervelo S5, I actually got on that bike and I was like, wow, this thing actually, like in that wall between 25 miles an hour, maybe, yeah, like 25 and 35 miles an hour, it feels like it actually wants to go, like it wants to keep going. And everybody's like, oh, aero bikes are so great. But really, like what I've heard consistently from people that, look into this stuff a little bit instead of not at all, is your body actually makes up about 85% of the drag. And then after that, I think your wheels are like 10% or something. I'm probably getting these numbers wrong. They're very close to these numbers, just know that. And I think it's 5% for everything else. You could be generous and say it's 3% for the frame. They're like, oh, we measure yaw angles and we have wind tunnels and we measure yaw angles. And they never actually cover this. But there's a thing called a gust factor. So when you go up in an airplane, and you get over to the runway, basically the pilot will listen to a thing called an automated terminal information system. And they point out how fast the wind is blowing. So say the wind is blowing 16 miles an hour. They'll say from what direction. So the person I was talking to was like, oh yeah, they measure wind angle from all directions, like the yaw of it. And I'm like, all right, cool. But do they measure the gust factor, which is basically like if you ever ride through a pocket of air, so say the gust is 6. So you'll get up from 16 miles an hour to 22 miles an hour wind. And then the frame's going to react a really weird way to that. And in my opinion, that's where frames with slimmed down tubes, they really shine. Like you're not going to have, something, basically they brag about designing these bike frames as being like the side of an airplane wing. But they shave them down so that they're really skinny, so they can cut through the wind, even if you have wind coming at weird angles and then gusting, like the wind's speeding up by 6 miles an hour and slowing down. Like that's why I think, those wheels, the wheels are constantly spinning, so that's different. The reserve, I think it's the 5764. It's the same that comes in the Cervelo S5. I bet that Cannondale with those wheels, it's going to be just as fast in the real world. They're going to spit out all these numbers all day, and you have people with like way too much money to spend that'll look at these charts, right? And they'll show the Cannondale here, the Trek Madone here, the Cervelo S5 here, and they'll be like, oh my God, look how fast this bike is in this chart. And it's like, yeah, you can say that all day long, but in the real world, when you're actually riding this, when a semi-truck drives by you at 35 miles an hour faster than you're riding your bike, your bike's going to react differently. It's not going to react like it's in a wind tunnel. Like you just can't like replicate that. And I think in the real world, you know, this is going to be just as fast as one of these like aero bikes or whatever the hell they want to call it. So yeah, I think it's going to be a cool bike coming out. You know, they took 40 grams out of the bar stem thing. I just hope they'll give you the opportunity to like send it back to the manufacturer. Like if you get a fit and they're like, yeah, you need a narrower handlebar, you need a wider handlebar, get a different bar. So I don't know if they're going to do that. I know Cervelo does that, but I hope Cannondale will do that too. So that's cool. But yeah, I mean, you know, mountains like that, I think that the climbing version is going to be really good. Then you got this bike. This is like half the price. This is a $6,500 version of the Evo, and this has Ultegra. This one weighs in at a little over 17 pounds. So yeah, it's significantly more expensive. It's like twice the price, but you are saving like 3 pounds. So you get something for your money, and then you get better components and hubs and all that good stuff. So I mean, like the pricing makes sense, and you know, they keep talking about the pricing is going to be more expensive because in the United States we have this thing. It's like a hidden thing. It's called the Trump sales tax. So basically, the current administration put taxes on goods that are made not in this country, coming from certain countries, so that businesses and the end consumer end up paying more money in a sense. Because of that, you know, sometimes companies use that as an excuse to charge more money. It's kind of like during the last US president before this one, there was this large period of inflation as well, and they used that, bike companies also use that as an excuse to raise prices. So the thing is, businesses like to take political stuff and they use any excuse they can to raise prices. But even with that, I feel like on the Lab 71 model, they didn't raise it to like a crazy amount, because they were trying to charge $16,000 for the last Lab 71 at one point. So I think overall it's actually like a pretty decent price for all the models across here. I think maybe at the lower end, you know, like $5,000 for this Ram Rival, like, yeah, it's a lot, but it's kind of in line with the other companies and what we've been seeing. So yeah, I can't wait to ride the bike, and I want to hear what everybody thinks about it. And I hope you all have a great day. Stay vegan.